Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald, Second Swing Golf with another swing report today back here at the Minnetonka Tour Van Callaway Elyte Mini Driver. Jake Montgomery joins us, fitting manager at the Minneapolis store. Exciting right here.
Yeah.
So the, of course, Elite drivers have already been out for a few months now. You've been fitting with them. My understanding is you've been very happy with the Elite drivers so far. So talk to me about how this might fit in there. Well, first of all, just how the Elite drivers have performed in fittings, and then where this might fit in now.
Yeah, so I mean, the Elite drivers just across the board, from a ball speed standpoint, have been pretty insane.
Yeah.
For example, my miss is very much on the toe. I had, I believe, 11 out of 12 shots in a row, way off the toe, 150 smash factor every time. Like you do not lose ball speed on a miss hit as long as you're still making somewhat good contact with it. And I've just seen that with all the customers I've helped fit as well. No one driver is going to fit everyone perfectly. But for the players that do fit into Elite, we're sometimes 10, 12, 15 yards longer than any other driver that we try.
Wow.
So this driver has just really been a phenomenal performer this year. So I'm really excited to kind of see what it does in a miniature form.
Yeah, so the Elite Mini Driver, we've got the specs here in front of us, 340cc.
Yep.
Okay, so I would say maybe on the larger end of the spectrum when it comes to the Mini Driver category.
100%.
A larger than maybe the competitor, so to
Yeah.
speak, out there. Also, the stock length is going to be 43 3/4. So I believe that's about 2 inches shorter than, I guess,
right
a
about
standard
from
driver
stock,
length. Yeah, so also of note that Callaway has this available, both dexterities. Also, there's a women's shaft available as well. So there's all kinds of builds here. So just in terms of the tech, it's obviously very similar to what is in the Elite drivers. You've got the AI 10X face, you've got the refined shaping, right, aerodynamics, all those kinds of things. But talk to me about initially here, and we'll kind of we'll cover this throughout the entire video. But the types of players that are going to be playing this in the bag and how it might be used.
So I would say specifically for the Callaway Mini Driver, this is definitely more miniature driver oriented than long fairway oriented.
Yeah.
Much deeper face, a lot bigger in size. The Triple Diamond, for example, is 450 cc's. So it's a lot closer to that than even let's say the GT280.
Yeah.
So this is really going to be for a player that just struggles with driver misses off the tee, looking for something that's a little easier to turn over, shorter length to give them better contact, and the kind of adjustability on there as far as adding loft. So like let's say a player is really looking for more height, it's a 13 degree that we can loft all the way up to 15.
Yep, and you also do have the weight port in the back of the club head, similar to the drivers where you have the fade, neutral, and draw settings there as well. So what we're going to do today is do a little bit of a testing where I'm actually going to hit a few off the deck, and then we're going to also tee them up and see what happens here as well. To your point, just by looking at it, I think it seems more like a tee-oriented club than off the deck oriented, but we'll see what happens here. Again, when there's a new sort of driver or wood offering from Callaway, it's always kind of a big deal for us. So nonetheless, we're going to get to testing.
Yeah, let's do it.
So first glance, again, we're going to start hitting off the deck.
Yeah.
And again, it seems like it'll be a bit of a task to get the club underneath the ball, especially on a mat. Now, outside, the fairways are a little softer than the mat, so it's more likely you'll get the ball underneath there, but we'll see what happens.
And I mean, off the turf, I think it'll be a little easier. Like we even tested the AI Smoke one last year, and I didn't have a huge issue getting the ball up in the air.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's bigger.
Yeah. It's bigger. It's bigger for a mini driver, and then this is also for those keeping track. This is the Denali Charcoal 60-gram stiff shaft that they provided us here to test. So, all right, mini driver, Elite Mini Driver, off the deck.
That sounded pretty good. No
You know
problem
what?
getting up in the air.
I like that. I like that. Wow. Again, slight low face strike. That's probably going to be a common theme here, is just kind of hitting it
for sure
under the equator, so to speak.
If you hit the middle, we did something wrong.
Right. I mean, probably, yeah. That one's good too.
Yeah, nice ball speed there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's almost the same shot.
Yeah. Spin rate's surprising me.
I know. It's like I mean, again, actually in the center of the face, you're going to see that spin be a lot lower than, probably lower than 3,000 even for me. But I have no problems with that shot there.
A little more left?
A little bit. So that was like kind of heel side. And then with my path being 6 positive, it kind of turned over. But okay, So I will say the fact that those two, those 3 shots were so similar in spin rate is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah.
And they're all low face, but this last one was way in the heel. And I still got, similar ball speed on that. So that part is encouraging.
The distance really didn't even drop off that much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was maybe 10 yards in the total, not even.
But it kind of goes back to what I said, though, about the just elite drivers overall. Maybe not your best strike, you still had 160 ball speed out of the thing.
Yeah, right.
Okay. We did say this club's a little easier to turn over.
Yeah, definitely.
For you, we'd probably throw that weight more in the toe position. That should be pretty dang good.
Yeah. See, that was good. I hit that the club slightly behind there.
Okay.
So I think I hit it a little, potentially even like high face almost.
Okay.
But I like where that ended up.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, spinner didn't drop like crazy.
Yeah.
2,700. It's like 500 RPMs lower than normal.
Again, right now I've hit really those 2 that hooked left. I still got the distance I wanted them and the speed out of them. But right now it's actually more playable off the deck than I envisioned.
Ball speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I like that. Let's look at the numbers quickly just off the deck. But so the reality of this club and hitting it off the deck is that you're more than likely going to, again, we talked about this already, but you're more than likely going to hit on this, the lower half of the face.
Absolutely.
So because of that, it's going to spin more, and you're probably going to lose a little bit of distance. But I like how actually high and there was enough spin where this could easily be a club that I hit into a green.
100%.
Right? I mean, based on what you're seeing here, again, there's 2 out the left that I hooked, and that was more of a swing issue on my part.
Yeah.
But those other 4, the carry distance on them is very close, or the total distance too is very close to each other. I like that a lot of consistency there.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a great performance even on a miss. I mean, we're only dropping off, let's see, your longest was 84, your shortest was 65. I mean, 20 yards on, let's just say, a couple balls that weren't the best struck, not bad at all. Peak height there was about 91 feet, 3,400 on the spin rate. I like that high spin. Your height there is great. I mean, that's even including these couple that went a little lower.
Right.
That was 77 and 85 feet.
Yeah.
I believe our highest was at
we eclipsed 100 feet a few times.
Yeah. And I mean, 100-foot apex is kind of where I'd want you to be playing a 3-wood. So seeing these mini drivers get that height still is very encouraging. I mean, this is a very playable club for you. For some people, a mini driver, we just don't hit it high enough that if you're trying to hit it at any type of green, there's just zero stopping power.
Right.
Where, I mean, it's great off the tee because it's a little easier to control. And I mean, if you are just trying to hit something up as close to the green as possible, knock yourself out. But like this, you could land on a green and conceivably stop it before it reached the end.
Right. I think also, too, we should note, in terms of off the deck before I hit a few off the tee, is I think with a club head this big, if you are on the maybe average to below average in your swing speed, it's going to be a lot tougher to get in the air.
Absolutely.
So my benefit here is I have the swing speed where hitting it low face, I'm actually able to still lift it and get the benefit of that maybe added spin.
Yep.
But if you don't have the speed to get that thing flying off the club face, that's where it might struggle. But again, a lot of players can still use that, and actually this benefits them with that extra loft as a driver off the tee. So we'll see that here shortly. But really good stuff so far off the deck.
Let's see it off the tee. Definitely launched high.
Yeah, that's oh my.
A little spinny for you.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, see, that's for me. This is why you see a player like me with my speed would never play something off the tee up that high and hit it.
No.
13.5 degree club.
Yeah, at impact, you delivered it with 16 degrees of loft. That's what that dynamic loft number means over there. Because you're swinging up at it 4 degrees, you're swinging in to out on it.
Because I think most players that are going to hit a mini driver off the tee probably are hitting it relatively neutral attack or even down on it.
Slightly down, yep.
Let's see if I can maybe fit that mold a little bit here. It's a little better.
Okay. Swung down on it slightly and your spin rate actually decreased. You do not see that with most typical drivers.
Yeah, now that was maybe slight toe is part of the reason the spin's like that.
Okay.
But I just got to close my face a little bit, and I like mean, it still get 300 yards out of that. It's
Absolutely.
pretty
I mean,
good.
those just are driver numbers. 12 degrees of launch, 2,600 spin.
Yeah.
That sounded great.
Just don't turn over too much. Oh, yeah.
Woo. Perfect.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And I mean, you are the use case for this as a shorter driver style club.
Yeah.
Your driver normally is going 320, 330 on a good one. There are going to be holes where you don't really want to hit it really past 300.
Right.
And that is a lot easier to hit off a tee than a fairway would for a lot of players.
I like that shot a lot because it's also kind of flighted too.
Yeah.
Where I'm just picturing, a hole where it maybe is a little skinny and there's like either a crosswind or maybe wind into me, and I'm just like, this driver just doesn't feel with as high as I hit my driver sometimes.
Yep.
That way I can kind of hit this, maybe move it back a little bit in my stance and kind of hit that down on it, and maybe that attack angle is closer to 0 there. Let me see if I can do that one again. It was a slight towards the heel there, but
I was going to ask about impact.
I do like that result, though. Again, I mean, the worst case scenario is it kind of, for a lack of a better term, balloons a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, look how far that is from my center line. I mean,
yeah, we're not minding that too much.
Right. Ooh, that was hit really well.
There's some ball speed.
If it doesn't turn over too much. Ooh, it did.
Face just got a little closed on you.
Yeah. I do like that shot, though. I mean, again, it's we got our numbers. I approve of it off the tee for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that one. I mean, that one shot up there that surpassed 300 with that little low draw is something that I like. That's the type of shot I would love to have in my bag, whether it's with a driver or whether it's with a club like the mini driver. But I want that shot in the bag, and the fact that I was able to pull it off here, and even still a couple other times too, where I just need to hit down on the ball a little bit and I could get that. So, But anything else to body you in terms of the off deck versus off tee numbers here?
I mean, once again, off the tee, you're swinging about 3 miles an hour faster. And it's not uncommon to see with a player. I mean, usually you see a difference in driver speed to three-wood speed just by the length. Obviously, that is not changing here. But I think you're just able to go after a little bit more, feeling a little freer off that tee there.
Yeah.
Launch angle only went up about a degree there. Spin rate came down about 300 RPMs, but we're seeing that big jump in our carry distance from 255 to 270 because we're swinging a little faster, getting a little more ball speed from it. Peak height, we actually hit a little higher off the tee than we did off the ground, despite the spin rate being a little bit lower because you're attacking it at an upward angle. That dynamic loft we were talking about is about 1.5 degrees higher out of the driver version.
Okay.
So I'm not surprised to see this going higher in the air. And like I said, this is a club that if we're looking for maximum height in a driver, this is a great place to go, especially for kind of on the opposite end of you. If we struggle from a lot slower swing speed and we're looking for something that's going to give us maximum hang time, this could be a fantastic option.
Yeah. One thing I'm going to add to, again, this is a quick little sample test. I didn't hit a ton of balls here, right? There's not a lot of dots up there. But I like how consistent the distances are there.
Yep.
There's a couple I kind of caught really well, caught perfect. They surpassed 300. The rest of them really are in that 270, 280-ish range.
Yep.
And I like how consistent that is. I have a good expectation, even on just this quick little session. And again, now that's before dialing in hosel, that's before dialing in the shaft, which I know the shaft is not best for me. Because I play actually a heavier and stiffer shaft in my driver right now. So I know there's things that can dial that stuff in already. So I'm really impressed. Again, I think there's more versatility with this thing than I thought of, just based on how good it was off the deck for me.
Yeah, I was very surprised with the off the deck performance. Plenty of spin, didn't struggle really getting up in the air at all.
Yeah, really good stuff so far.
Yeah.
Jake, testing complete here. Callaway Elyte Mini Driver. I think both of us were maybe a little bit, I don't want to say scared, but we were kind of concerned about what would happen off the deck, being that we're hitting off the hard mats, and it's a pretty big club head still to try to hit off the deck. But I was able to hit that ball actually over 100 feet in the air a couple times off the deck. So I was very impressed with that. I guess give me kind of your takeaway from the testing here before we dive into kind of the player types.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, I guess it does make sense why the spin rate is higher because it's so low on the face,
Yeah.
or so deep of a face that you're going to hit low face if you make good contact with this club.
Right.
If you're hitting the dead middle of the face there, you're probably chunking that ball.
Right.
So seeing that spin rate be a little bit higher on a low shot makes sense why we're able to still get it up despite it being a little bit deeper face there. I would say the thing that I was probably the most surprised with was just how well the ball speed maintained despite us hitting it so low on the face.
Yeah.
Still a 145 smash factor hitting this club off the ground, which is pretty phenomenal. And the spin rate didn't get out of control. It was still 3,400, which I mean is exactly where you'd expect a 3-wood to be.
Yeah.
It was very playable off the ground.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised with just as someone who plays a pretty shallow-ish faced 3-wood right now. I was mentally I was a little concerned at first, but the performance is really good, and I would recommend it if you have some decent swing speed to try it off the deck, and then as we can get into the player types here now too, actually as to who this club might be for. So I think we've kind of covered, in my case, someone with some swing speed. This could be sort of that number 2 club in the bag for somebody that maybe there's enough holes on the golf course where you pull out the driver, just doesn't quite look right to you. This is a lot more controllable off the tee option, and then you can still hit it off the deck. But I know there's some other players too that are going to benefit from this.
I mean, there's honestly kind of a wide range of people that could get into this. I even just thought of one recently. I have a lot of people from, let's say, the older generation that come in that just hate the size of drivers now. Yeah. They're so used to a smaller club head, something they feel is easier to control. They would absolutely love this. So if you're looking for a smaller, more traditional looking club, I would definitely take a peek at this.
And then you mentioned also off camera beforehand.
Yep.
The fact that there's a women's build option here 100%. As well. I know that's one too that you wanted to touch on.
Yeah, so at a slower swing speed, more loft is our friend. The longer we can get the ball to stay in the air, the further you will hit it, the further you will carry it. So putting this at 15 degrees, throwing that lady shaft in there, could be a great option to really achieve a maximum peak height off the tee.
And then also we should note that we hit this at 13.5. There's also 11.5 as an option
100%.
for loft too. So you could crank that down to like 10 degrees, and you could have a driver that's just a little smaller. So the versatility here is actually pretty, really good. And I know very exciting for you as a fitter to be able to work with all these options. So I guess I'll let you sort of take it away at the end here.
Yeah.
In summary, the Elyte Mini Driver, what are you most excited for once it's in the bay for you?
The thing I'm most excited about is just the versatility of the club itself. I mean, I just ran through a bunch of different options there. At the end of the day, this is just a shorter, a little bit smaller, shrunken down driver. Sounds simple, but there are just so many different things that we can do with this club. Loft variations, shaft variations, throwing a flat cog in there, which I think would be perfect for you for the lie angle.
Yes.
Just a multitude of different things where we can kind of transform this club into whatever we need it to be.
Yeah, it's again, there's options, and then that's not even talking about the different shafts. The weight on the back of the club head, there's so many options. So the Elyte Mini Driver, if you feel like it might be right for your game, whether it's that top of the bag or maybe the number 2 club in your bag, schedule a fitting. Someone like Jake at one of our fitting locations will get you dialed in for the Elyte Mini Driver. Jake, thank you for joining today. Great stuff.
Problem.